It's starting to feel like people are getting more and more desperate. It's like people are getting more and more radicalized by their beliefs and by the things that make them angry. And people are getting outraged by different things. Everybody's got their own problems with how the world currently works. And I'm not saying that that's bad. Clearly, it's not bad to question the system, to question how things are. And if things aren't going well, it's not unheard of to respond in a negative way. But it feels like, and it might just be me, I might be the only one, but it feels like things are getting worse. It feels like civil unrest is ratcheting up. Like people are willing to do more extreme things in the name of the things that they believe. And there was a story that I just saw today that honestly it I didn't even see it. Apparently a couple months ago there was a host on NBC whose mom got taken and held for ransom. And I looked up the host net worth. Apparently, it's in the eight figures. She does well for herself. And her mom, her 84-year-old mom, got taken and held for ransom. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean when I say it seems like people are willing to do more crazy shit in the name of what they believe. They believe they deserve to have more money. They believe that there's no way that they're able to get more money without taking from somebody that in their eyes and their minds probably is more than they'll ever need. More money than they should even have. And I'm not saying people weren't taken before. People were obviously held for ransom before. But it feels like, is it just me? Am I the only one that notices this? It feels like these stories are happening more and more frequently. Like it's beginning to be more of a normal thing. Like I said, this just I didn't even notice it. It just went on by. And even when something crazy does happen, you notice how quickly we just kind of move on. All right, what's the next story? There's just so much crazy shit that's happening that we can't even keep up. Our minds can't even like wrap around the fact that something happened because you're already on to the next story. So, a newly revealed ransom note has injected a grim development into the ongoing investigation surrounding the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC Today show host Savannah Guthrie. According to the law enforcement sources, a letter sent to media outlets claims that Nancy Guthrie died shortly after she was abducted from her home outside of Tucson, Arizona. This is this is what happens when you take an 84-year-old trying to make some money. And from what I've read, they try to get like 4 million or something like that in Bitcoin or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Even if it was $4, you took this 84-year-old old lady. And no offense, you know what I mean. 84 is the new 24 or whatever. Age is just a number or whatever. But come on, man. That's up there with children. When you think of innocent people, usually we categorize them like, yeah, we have to take care of our children and our elderly. It's one of those things like, wow, you kind of got fucked over just because of how successful your daughter was. And the note explicitly states that the individuals who took her did not intend to cause her death, but that she passed away shortly after her disappearance. While local media outlets and national news organizations received multiple communications in the days following the initial crime, the specific details regarding her death were withheld at the request of authorities to ensure that any future contacts with the suspects could be properly authenticated. So they been got this ransom note. Savannah has been known that her mom died. And talk about a botched fucking job, man. You thought this was gonna be easy. And again, just from what I've read, people are suspecting that it's somebody that they know. It's somebody possibly in the family or friends of the family. Somebody that knows crucial information about where they needed to go to get Nancy. And we'll look a little bit more into that, but somebody that was close to them. Savannah's known for a little while that somebody that was close to them accidentally killed her mom for money. For money. Again, I know this has happened before. I know this story isn't like never before seen. But it's shit like this that feels like it's happening more and more. Whether it's a story like this, a story like that guy that killed that health insurance CEO because he got denied for a health insurance claim after injuring his back or whatever. You got more of these stories that seem to be happening. What about the guy that threw a Molotov cocktail right at Sam Altman's door just because he doesn't like, what AI means for our future? It seems like people are taking things more extremely. They're willing to be radical now. They're saying, "Hey, this is my time to step up." And obviously, I'm not saying this is a good thing. By the way, that's not the stance of this show. We're not saying that any of that should be condoned. Obviously, it needs to be stopped in any functioning society. But it feels like it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. How many people are going to be taken? And I get it was an accident. I get it wasn't their intention to take this 84-year-old woman and kill her. Again, it was probably a simple job for them. Something that, like, how have I not been done this? I've known Savannah and her family for years. How have I been not taking Nancy? Fuck Nancy. I'll take Nancy. You didn't think about her medication? Her blood pressure medication or some shit? I gotta take my pills. You never thought about that. You never thought about that, did you? Easy job. No such thing. You thought this was gonna be easy money? Come on. You thought just like that you was gonna come up, that you could just take this elderly woman and there would be no consequences. So they may not have intended to kill her. But this is what happens when you take an old lady. This is what happens. You may think that all of these pills that they put in those day sorters, they got to keep track to make sure that they don't mix the Tuesday with the Wednesday medication. You may think that shit doesn't matter. It's important. It's important, and they can't even tell you why it's important. I just need my pills. Shut up, Nancy. I need my money. Then you can get your pills. Maybe Savannah doesn't love you. If Savannah does, she'll pay. I'll get my money, and you can go take your pills. You'll be fine. Some more pills. People have been saying I need vitamins or whatever. Is that what this is? So they can't even explain. Older people, they can't explain what these pills are for. They might be, it's for my blood pressure. They might be able to explain a little bit of that, but for the most part, they're just listening to the doctor. Especially the old people of today. The boomers. No offense at all meant to any boomer. But, you know who you are. You know what you are. You listen to the doctor. If the doctor said it, it must be true. So they got all these pills. She can't explain what her pills are for. I don't know. We don't know how she died. The ransom note didn't say how she died. Just that we didn't mean to. We didn't mean to. And in the second note, they didn't ask for any money. Which, obviously, what leverage do you have? And they want the body. They want the body back, but that's how much is an alive body compared to a dead body worth? Just saying, just trying to do the math here. If you were asking for $4 million before, this is easily like 400,000 now. Like easily, we're talking about like 10% of what you could have made before. Easy job. Thought this was gonna be a quick and easy job, just a little come up. All I had to do was fuck over somebody I know. Allegedly it's somebody, but I guarantee you, Savannah's looking at everybody that's close to them, and not just friends and family. But what about the gardener? Like I said, I looked it up because I do my homework. I do my homework for this show. That's how dedicated I am. And she was worth, I think it said like 40 or 50 million. So they probably have like a gardener, housekeeper, shit like that. You can't just think about them. You might be like, Edna over there. Actually, let's be honest. It's probably like a Gloria or Maria. More of like a Hispanic name is what I'm trying to say. It's probably a Hispanic housekeeper. I couldn't think of any other Hispanic names. But Cassandra? No, it's kind of like a black girl name, ain't it? I don't know. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm ruling her out because fucking Martha over there couldn't have taken Nancy." First of all, she might be. It's an 84-year-old woman. So a lot of people could have taken Nancy. The suspect pool is wide with this one. But you can't just focus on like the housekeeper or whatever and say, oh well, you're ruled out. Cause what if she has a cousin and she's not in on it per se, but her cousin stopped by. Oh, that's where you work. Look at this nice house. Look at this white lady's house. I don't know. And don't call me racist because I said Hispanic. Whatever. It could have been any ethnicity. This is just how I'm seeing it in my mind. I'm playing it out in my head, and this is how I see it. So yeah, sue me. This is how I see it. So you didn't mean to kill this lady. You didn't mean to cause all of this havoc on Savannah. But it's kind of too little, too late. It doesn't really matter. And it's more than just taking your mom. Like I said, the suspect pool is wide now. Everybody has to get fired. So now, even if the housekeeper had nothing to do with it, her cousin is actually an outstanding member. Thank you, calling me racist. He has a food truck, and he has a very successful established business. He had nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter. She got fired. She's gonna have to wipe everybody clean. Anybody that knows anybody. I don't care. I'm starting over. I'm starting over. Even the people close. She's starting to question everybody. So you did more than just take her mom. You took her trust with everybody, by the way. And then what's worse is you were probably the friend that stole something from the other friend and then went on to help look for said stolen object. Oh my God, you haven't seen it? You know those type of people. Gonna take your shit and then help you look for it. You know that's the type of situation that's probably going on here. Oh my God, my condolences. What happened? What did you hear in the ransom note? Are there any suspects? Is there anything I could do? I baked you a pie. Here's a casserole. This is what she's dealing with. She knows it's one of you motherfuckers. She knows. And her guard's up. Her trust is lost. And her mom is gone. This is what you did. Nancy Guthrie vanished from her residence in the Catalina foothills on January 31st, 2026. This happened basically at the top of the year. Like I said, I didn't even hear about this. I don't really watch mainstream news. The only time I really even pay attention to it is when I'm prepping for this show. So I didn't even hear about this. It's just it's even more wild when obviously they want to keep it under wraps, maybe even pay them. Let me get my mom back. Everything's going to be hush hush. But to get a note and say, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Actually, you can keep your money because I lost my leverage. What do you mean you lost your leverage? I don't, Nancy's gone. She got away. She ran away. 84 years old. What? I can't see her running that far. Is she okay? She got away? How'd she get away? She didn't get away. She's with nature now. I'm pretty sure is how they worded it. She's with nature now. She's dead. I'm sorry. She's gone. So my leverage is gone. I don't need your money. Sorry. Oops. My bad. Investigators initially classified the home as a crime scene after discovering blood droplets near the front doorstep. Later, FBI analysis recovered surveillance footage from the home's automated security system showing a masked, armed individual tampering with the doorbell camera on the night of her disappearance. I mean, so if that is the sole reason why people think that this is an inside job, you can't really, it's not really a shocker. Walk into a neighborhood and a lot of people have doorbell cameras. It's not one of those things. It has gotten to the point where you can have it set up on your phone and shit like that. It's not that expensive. You feel me? So it's like an average house could still have a doorbell camera. It's not unheard of for somebody that is taking somebody to check for a doorbell camera. I feel like that doesn't necessarily mean it's an inside job. Her family and regional law enforcement have established a combined reward of $1.1 million for information leading to the recovery of her body or the conviction of those responsible. See, either way, this was going to cost Savannah some money. I'm not sure if she has to pay. It says her family and law enforcement have a combined reward. Okay, so let's say she put in half. She put in like a cool like 550,000, whatever. That is still gonna cost her. At this point, she's like, what's the lesser of two? Oh, I can't pay them. Well, let me pay them. Pay these people. Either way, I'm gonna have to pay somebody. I don't want to pay the people that took my mom, that took Miss Nancy. So let's see Savannah Guthrie, everyone.
We are in agony, and we cannot be at peace. So no matter how much I try to come out here every day and smile and find that joy, and I will, I promise I will. This is the moment to tell you that we need your help. We're begging for your help.
Look what
and
you did.
I'm not going to miss that opportunity.
Savannah fought back tears
trust.
this morning, her emotional plea coming after the revealing new details from a ransom note received in February. It was the second of two notes believed to have come from whoever took Nancy.
Jesus.
The first showed that the abductors knew specific details about the 84-year-old's home. An Apple Watch with a white band on the floor of her bedroom, her back porch light broken.
What are we learning in the second note?
We learn that the abductors tell Savannah and her family that Nancy Guthrie has died, and indicates that that was not the intention, but that that's what has happened.
That second note also reportedly claimed Nancy is, quote, buried with nature now.
Buried
We
with
received
nature
your
now.
message, and we understand.
The next day, Savannah, along with her brother and sister, publicly addressed her mother's supposed kidnappers.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her.
See, I don't know. They said that because they knew details of Nancy's house, that doesn't necessarily mean that it was an inside job, but it doesn't rule it out either. So anybody that was doing this, I'm guessing they would at least have the smarts enough to case out the house. You know, let's see where the cameras are and all of that. Obviously, they still got caught on camera. They knew they'd be on camera. That's why they had a mask on, just in case there was other cameras. That I don't know, man. Like I said, I feel like it shows where we're at. It shows where we are at as a society. Cause somebody felt like this is an easy job. This is good money. This is justified. This is why I hate the whole eat the rich mentality. It's such a toxic mentality to have. And what? Because she's worth 8 figures, her mom deserved to die. Her mom deserved to die. She didn't get to take her pills that day. And now what? You didn't get any money. They were smart enough to realize that, hey, I'm just gonna have to leave it here. And that's why she's pleading, hey, just give her body back. And they try to tell her, hey, she's buried with nature now. We got rid of the body, basically. And think about it. Why would they? Maybe, like I said, you can ask for like 10%. Let me get like 400,000. How much can you really get? How much can you really get? The best bet now, because before it was just you taking somebody. The best bet now that you have murdered somebody is to disappear, is to leave. I'm sorry. This wasn't my intention. This will be the last time you ever hear from them. That's my prediction. You're not going to hear from them again. They're not going to tell you where the body is. They're not going to try to work out any deal. They realize that they're going to have to cut their losses. And this was just a job gone wrong in their life. This was just a whoopsie daisy. I didn't mean to. I should have checked for the assortment of pills. I don't know. That's my guess. What happened? How do you she unintentionally died? You didn't give her water? You didn't feed her? Did she decide not to eat on some Gandhi shit? Like, no. I'm not. I'm doing a hunger strike. Even then you think they would put that in the note. Hey, look, we try to feed her. She that was a strong bitch. Stubborn, prideful. She wouldn't eat. So I don't know. I wish that would have helped me feel a little bit of closure. I couldn't imagine for the family how it would feel. Like how did she die? How did she go? How do you unintentionally kill somebody? She slipped and she fell into my knife. I tripped and my finger hit the trigger of my gun, and I'm sorry. What, like, how, what happened? The only logical conclusion I could think of is I told you I needed my medication. I told you. I told you. I told you I need my pills. You didn't get them for me. You didn't believe me. And now look, you go down, oh Nancy, guess what? Savannah's going to probably give us the money. And Nancy? Takes off the mask. Ends up just being like her fucking nephew or some shit like that. Fuck. Takes off the mask. I'm sorry, Grandma. I don't know. She probably has those people that she was on the couch with. Those are probably some of the only people she trusts. I know it wasn't you. Other than that, I don't know who to trust. It's just, like I said, they're willing to take things further than they ever did before. It feels that way to me. And in other news, we got Trump being Trump, and he has this reflecting pool project that went horribly wrong. Spent millions of dollars, more of the taxpayers' money, and it went horribly wrong. And I'm not trying to dunk on him. I know a lot of people, they want to do that. That's what a lot of people want to do. They can't wait for their moment to say, ha, look where this big dummy fucked up in again. So President Trump announced that the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool will be drained for a second time following a $14 million renovation project that has been plagued by severe algae blooms and peeling paint. So he had the bright idea to take the reflecting pool in Trumpian fashion, drain said reflecting pool, and then he wanted to coat it blue, like American red, white, and blue, so everybody could see this great country that we live in. Just trying to make it look good on some ballroom shit. He wants some good stuff. He wants to be known. He knows that he's not going to be known positively for things like the Iran war, an example. He's not going to be known positively for things like the release of the Epstein files, an example. So he wants to be known for something. I think he even said that he wanted to be like on Mount Rushmore or some shit like that. Like, the man wants to be idolized. He wants to be remembered in history. He's up there in age. He's one of the boomers. He knows that his time is coming. So he's scrambling. He's trying to find something. I'm not trying to dunk on Mr. President Trump. He had an idea. He tried. It did backfire. It did backfire. I do personally wish that he would spend some of his personal money on these projects because they seem to keep backfiring. They seem to keep costing more than he says. The initial overhaul was ordered to coat the bottom of the pool in a shade designated as American flag blue ahead of the nation's 250th independence anniversary on July 4th. However, shortly after being refilled earlier this month, the water turned dark green. While National Park Service workers attempted to mitigate the bloom by dumping large quantities of hydrogen peroxide into the basin, observers quickly noted that massive chunks of the new blue coating had detached from the substrate and were floating to the surface. So it was a great idea, Trump. I know he can't help himself. I know he can't. If he was doing good on everything else, by the way, if he had a good track record with everything else, I promise you, America, the average citizen would just be crazy old Trump. Just doing something else. It's all good. Because he's doing good with everything else. When you fuck up everything else, when people already hate you, and people already want to see you impeached, the last thing you want to do is fuck up another project. So let's see more about this great reflecting pool.
Workers with waders and pool cleaning equipment are working overtime at Washington's iconic reflecting pool, battling the algae that has turned one of the president's prized projects from American flag blue to green.
If you take a look, Not only has the green of the algae come back, but look at that American flag blue in the paint. It's actually starting to peel. It's coming up.
That was not what the president had in mind for this
You could
project,
tell he's dunking on
which
Trump.
was completed just last week.
Look at this.
You'll be very proud of, and it'll last for 50 to 100 years before you have to do anything. Very strong, powerful substance.
Very strong.
The companies that did the work to drain the pool, repair the leaks, seal and paint the bottom of the pool, and install a filtration system were awarded no-bid contracts worth about $15 million.
Yeah, they trying to find
virtually
anything, bro.
no
They trying to
federal
dunk on Trump.
experience doing federal contracts. The project was completed last week, and for a couple of days, it seemed to work. But the water quickly started turning green. By the beginning of this week, algae everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. You could tell that they do not like this man. By the beginning of this week, algae everywhere. It reminds me of when you got a kid. At least my kids do this, where they're trying to snitch on the other kid. I got a boy and a girl. When they try to tell on their brother or sister, they won't just say, "Hey, this person just did this." They'll do it in a different way, like, "Oh, wow, look at how they just made a mess on the table. They just left all their crumbs after eating their lunch." And it happened just the other day, and I had to tell my son, like, "Okay, so you're trying to tell on your sister? That's what it is?" He's like, "No, I was just saying." It's like, "Okay, let's be real. Let's call it what it is." And that's how I feel about this. Let's call it what it is. They're trying to tell the world that, hey, Trump sucks. I don't like Trump. So look at where he messed up here. And you just see the algae and all of that. And like I told you, I did my homework. Because I'm dedicated to this show, I did my homework. And did you know that the reflecting pool has had a problem with algae since being built? It's always had an issue with this. It's not something that's brand new. But again, if you were doing good with everything else, if everything else was going well, people wouldn't even notice about this. They would barely talk about it. You know, if they did bring it up, it'd be one of those things where it's just like, really, you're bringing this up because he has algae? But look at all these other things, listing bullet points of all of the great and wonderful things that our president has done. But because that is not the case, people are noticing things like the algae in the pool. And I'm not saying that it was always this bad. Just for the record, the reason why it's so bad now is because he decided to paint it blue. And if you don't know, the darker the color, the more that it attracts heat from the sunlight. The more sunlight, the more it heats up the water. And it's just the perfect environment for algae. I told you, I did my homework. But you can't say that, oh, because he did this, now we just have algae and the reflecting pool was just perfect before. Okay, it's always had an algae issue around summertime every single year. But yeah, this was a moment. You dropped the ball, Trump. I'm sorry. As somebody that is not on either team, I'm not ready. I'm not like excited and giddy to be like, ha, nana nana boo boo, Trump just messed up again. Ha ha. I feel like I'm just a quiet observer on the side, looking at all of these fucking clowns. And the head clown, the one that's literally painted orange, the cartoon character of a president that we have, I'm just shaking my head. Like, well, there goes millions more of taxpayer money. It'd be one thing, I guess, if our budget was balanced a little bit. If we weren't spending more than the money that we bring in, maybe it wouldn't be a problem then. Maybe then we could think about the aesthetics. And I'm one of those people that I'm pro beautiful structures. I like that. Think about like all of the old like coliseums and shit like that. Like they took pride in what they did. They took pride in what they built. And now if you go into a neighborhood, everything's cookie cutter. All the houses look the same. All the buildings look the same. You look at even schools. All the schools look the same. Have you ever seen like an old school? I'm talking like 100-year-old elementary, middle, or high school. Some of those, like, they got some cool designs to it. They actually look different. It doesn't look like something I just saw down the street in another county. But nowadays, everything just has like a blueprint. Everything just has to look like, the regular corporate style. So I am for beautiful architecture or whatever. I'm all for that. But when you are in debt, when you are trillions of dollars in debt, you don't say, hey, this seems like a good time to renovate the fucking kitchen. You don't say that. You don't say, hey, this is the time where we get new cabinets. I was thinking marble, granite. I don't know. What do you think? Because I just I want everything brand new. We're gonna knock down this wall. No, this is the time where you say, hey, we need to get our shit together. We need to kind of balance this thing out. We are spending more than we're bringing in, and it's not just Trump. That's why I said I'm not on these teams. It's like, oh, finally I get to dunk on Trump. You guys elected him a couple years ago, and look what happened. I told you he'd mess it up. I'm not one of those people. To be honest, it did seem like it would be worse if it leaned the other way. But I gotta call a spade a spade. I gotta at least say, this is where we mess up. The problem is, both sides do it. No matter which side gets elected, they increase the spending from the previous administration. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, they did it better. This side is the answer. No, they're all doing this. So projects like this, they irritate me personally, because people have the whole eat the rich mentality. You got people like Savannah Guthrie getting her mom taken, held for ransom because they need money. And obviously criminals are going to criminal. It's going to happen regardless. It's not one of those things like, oh, because the economy is okay, nobody's going to ever commit crimes. No, obviously. But crime will go down. Crime will go down, I promise you that. The amount of social tension it seems to have, whether it's like race wars or political wars or anything like that, you'd be surprised how much that would calm down if the economy got better. And don't believe me, look at history. Look at history. It is normal for this to start happening as an economy starts to break. We're just repeating it. Everybody thinks that they are the special snowflake. We're just rhyming with history constantly. So when you do dumbass shit, like waste millions of dollars, and everybody makes mistakes, you know, I'm not saying like the man should never be allowed to make any mistakes. I mean, stakes are high when you run the United States, but I think a little bit of grace should be given to every president. But you can't keep making mistakes. You can't keep spending more. And the more you do this, the more unrest that you're going to cause, the more cases like Savannah getting her mom taken for ransom, you know, like the more of that is going to happen. The more people that feel like they can't get a leg up in this world, the more that they're going to just say, fuck it, what do I have to lose? You know, like a lot of people, they wouldn't steal. But if that's what it took to feed their family, all right, I got to do what I got to do. A lot of people, they wouldn't kill anybody. They wouldn't murder. But if somebody broke in and they threatened their family, gonna have to do what I got to do type of thing. You know, so my point is, when you are put into this situation, when you are put into the position of being fucked with no options, it leads people down a destructive path. It leads people to crazy ideas. And that's probably why the only time I've seen a president almost get assassinated since I've been alive has been since Trump first, you know, came into office or whatever. I guess that was after the second one, when he was running the second time. But you get what I'm saying. Like, this shit wasn't happening before. And I'm not saying it's never happened. It's like when you start to add all of these things up, and then you got the president saying, we're going to have the strongest, bluest reflecting pool that has ever been. And the administration has attributed the failures to deliberate sabotage, claiming that multiple individuals have been arrested for vandalism. In public statements, Trump asserted that perpetrators used blades to cut a 250-foot gash into the newly installed liner and poured corrosive chemicals into the water to destroy the work. Look, I don't know what you expected from Trump. I don't know what you thought he would say. My bad? You thought he was going to apologize. Hey, look, I really thought this could work. Look, this was my vision. I wanted something to bring America together. Look, sometimes they go wrong, sometimes they go right. Look at the UFC event on the White House lawn. That went pretty well. You ask people that were there, they say, man, like the spectacle, the show, the showmanship of this, like it was a whole event. It was great. It was amazing. Sometimes they go well. Sometimes you got blue lining floating in the reflecting pool. It's one of those things that happens. Like I say, you got to give people grace. But did you really expect that he was just going to say, I'm sorry? My mistake, my bad. This was my fault. Of course, the first thing he says is, well, this was sabotage. Obviously, somebody on the left, they don't like me. But that's what he does. That's what he does. He's the person that anytime he is asked a question or he's given information that goes against what he's already said, he's going to tell you that, hey, it's not true. It's fake news. He could be the same person that lies over and over, contradicts himself about the Iran war, and then still will turn around and say that everybody else is fake news. You're not dealing with somebody that has any sort of self-awareness. He's not going to say, I'm sorry. So U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pirro, confirmed that citations have been issued, including the arrest of a former U.S. Olympian who witnesses say reached into the water to touch a piece of the floating debris. And that was exactly what I just saw the guy in that video do. But okay, I don't know. It's a touchy subject right now. Again, he knows people are trying to dunk on him right now. He knows he fucked up. He might not say I'm sorry, but he knows he fucked up. It's not like he's stupid, unaware. And some people would actually argue with both of those statements because sometimes he does seem stupid and unaware. But I have to think that he knows what's going on here. I have to think that a part of him has to know what's going on. So they have a before and after, a now and then difference of where he actually started to contradict himself when he first started talking about this reflecting pool compared to now.
This will last for at least 50 years, and you'll never have a leak. It's very strong. You couldn't, if you had a knife, I don't want to give anybody ideas. If you had a knife, you can't even cut it. So
he gave him an
strong,
idea.
So powerful. It's like powerful rubber. It is
powerful rubber.
Sealed. And I looked at just one of the little pieces.
He's a fucking cartoon character,
it's
bro.
Like a piece of glass. Beautiful color, beautiful everything. You could never get anything like that.
Are the contractors who did the initial work with the reflecting pool, are they to blame for the current condition, or is it the vandals?
We had vandalism. No, vandals.
No.
Vandals.
I know I said you couldn't cut it.
300-foot slit
but
right through it. Probably
that's what happened.
A box cutter or a knife of some kind. Or we had people lifting up the basic, some of the, but it's not a lot of damage, but we'll probably have to let the water out and refix it.
National Guard and police have been all over the mall. How would these vandals have gotten so close to do something like that?
Yeah.
Do you have any proof of this?
I mean, we didn't have a lot of them then. Who would think that somebody would go into a pool and take a knife and start cutting it?
Did you have proof of that?
Yeah, we have proof.
Yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. When you have a 350, I think it's 350, not 250, a 350-foot slit from one end to the other, you think that's proof? You think that's proof?
Reporters have been down there today looking for that slit that you mentioned, and there's no evidence.
Well, you'd have
there's
to
no
see
evidence.
The Parks Department. They'll show it to you. See the secretary. But I saw it. They cut it very violently.
Yo, that's why you cannot tell me that he doesn't come straight out of a cartoon. That's why it's like, bro, you couldn't make this guy up if you tried. Bro, he's such a character. He's such a character. So what evidence do you have that somebody came up and slit the lining of the reflecting pool? What evidence do you have? Oh, did I say it was 250 feet? Actually, I think it's 350 feet. That's my evidence. I added 100 feet to the slit. He asked for evidence, and bro said, actually, I made a mistake. The one time he will say he made a mistake if it's to further dramatize what happened. even if that is a complete fabrication. Evidence, you say. It was actually 350 feet. It was an extra 100 feet of a slit. How can you explain that? That's my evidence. Explain the slit from one end to the other, 350 feet. Might have been 250. I'm pretty sure. It's the strongest. This is the man that said it was the strongest thing ever. You couldn't cut it. Don't want to give anybody ideas. But you couldn't cut it if you tried. 350 slit. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. Yeah, he contradicted himself. That's not new. If anybody was surprised by that, then you haven't been paying attention to Sir Donald Trump. You haven't been paying attention. That's his game. That's his game. He it's like he's unaware of the internet. I guess it's because when he first started being, he was rich and famous. I'm pretty sure it was before the internet. I don't know. Either way, he hasn't fully acclimated. He's acclimated enough to constantly tweet and shit like that, but he hasn't acclimated enough to actually realize, like, hey, you do know, especially since you've been president, everything you say is recorded and put on the internet. Everything you say can be put against the thing that you said before, which is why you have so many montages of him talking about the Iran war. It's over. We got a deal. We're going to blow them up. All of this shit. It's a war. It's not a war. All of that. They have no nuclear power. Oh, we got to hurry up or they'll get the nukes. It's these things where he doesn't even think about it. It's okay for him. It's not even one of those things where, and maybe this is just me, but like where something like that happened, like you might contradict yourself, or just in general, where it's like, that goes against what my principles or anything like that. There's like a voice in your head, at least my head, that's just like, that kind of like just calls me out, basically. I guess if I had to sum it up. He doesn't have that voice. What is that in Pinocchio? That's Jiminy Cricket. He doesn't have a conscience. He doesn't have that voice in his head that's saying, hey, you know that you said that it was the strongest material and it couldn't be cut. Now you're saying that this thing that's clearly has no evidence. He said there's no evidence of this slit. The first thing you say is, well, clearly this was an act of aggression against me. Clearly this was somebody that was trying to sabotage my project and they slit it. But sir, you said it wasn't able to be slit. Well, that's like, we're not moving past it, sir. You told me that you couldn't slit it. Like, are you telling me that somebody was able to not only slit it, it's so hard to penetrate, but somehow they were able to do it for not just 1 feet, but up to 250, 350 feet, whatever you want to say, bro. You're telling me they just kept doing it for hundreds of feet? Sir, it doesn't pass the common sense test, sir. I'm sorry. He doesn't have a voice in his head that's telling him, hey, don't say that. Don't say that. That if you're gonna lie, you can't lie like that. You can't use that lie. You can't say that this was sabotage and somebody slit it after just saying like a month ago that it's so strong. We need millions of dollars. This is before they knew it was going to cost like $14 million. Still was projecting for it to cost like a couple mil, like 2 or 3. We need this money. I'm sorry, but it's because it's going to be so strong, so blue, American flag blue. And walking by is just going to give you a severe feeling of patriotism. You can't help but feel patriotic walking by this blue reflecting pool. You sold it well. And if you're going to sell it, because we know it's bullshit. If you're going to sell your bullshit, just don't contradict it later. Don't say, hey, when this goes wrong, I'm going to say the one thing that happened was the one thing I said couldn't happen. It just doesn't make too much sense for me. Again, I'm not trying to pile on. There's enough people with, what do they call it? The Trump derangement syndrome or whatever. Like people, I'm not one of those people that gets like some people hate this man. People like they get so wound up. Oh, this fucking Trump. He's a racist. He's rich. It's Donald Trump. He's on the right. People hate Donald Trump. I'm not one of those people. He doesn't, I don't know. He just doesn't ruffle my feathers like that. But then again, if I'm gonna be honest, ain't nobody really ruffles my feather like that. I've been in some situations where I've had to deal with people because, you know what I mean, where it's like in that moment, like you're ruffling my feathers in this moment. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying like, oh, never be bothered by anybody. I'm talking about people who have like a severe hatred. Like this is how Superman has his Lex Luthor, how Batman has the Joker. That's who Donald Trump is for a lot of everyday people that have never met him. And that's what I mean when I say people are getting more extreme, by the way. When I say that people seem to be taking their beliefs as factual reality. By the way, that's what I'm talking about. Where they are so sure that they're right about how they see the world that they feel justified in hating this man or any person doing any of these things. So I'm not trying to pile on Trump. I'm going to point out inconsistencies just because that's what I'm gonna do. No matter who it is, that's my job. That's what I feel like my purpose right now is. The only reason why this even comes across my radar is, again, when you are the fat kid that is severely overweight, and that's what America is, by the way. We're a fat little piggy. We're a fat fuck, and we're okay with it. We're okay with overeating. In fact, a lot of people are championing the fact that we're gonna keep consuming more and more calories. Now, we're gonna want to get fatter and fatter, as most fat people are. So they're like, oh, I'm gonna make a change and this and that, and they go on their little fitness journey, and they lose the weight. I think that's awesome when that happens. Obviously, nothing against the fatties in the world, nothing against you. But in this case, America is the 500-pound man that just wants to keep eating and eating and eating and eating. And so many people just want to keep serving it more food. Let's make the government bigger. Let's pay more taxes. Let's take more taxes from the rich. Let's just go more in debt. I know that I ran on getting the swamp cleared or whatever. Like all of them, they go on these campaign promises. That's why it's like I'm only saying the most recent because it's the most recent. It's all of them. It's all of them. Go look at what Biden did. Go look at what Obama did. Go look at what all of them do. They just keep spending more and more money. They keep spending more and more money, taking more and more taxes, and life isn't getting better. You can't say it's getting better. It's definitely not getting better. We just want to keep eating. We want to keep getting more calories. So, yes, when you are that fat, overweight person, and I'm trying to get them to be more healthy. I'm trying to champion a more healthy lifestyle. When I see them eat junk food like a $15 million reflecting pool while we are already overweight, it's kind of like one of those things like, look, that's nice. You can have ice cream, fatty. But how about we bring down your calories, you lose all this weight, and then we could talk about desserts later. Like, you can get to that point again, but right now, that's the last thing you need to worry about. We need to actually reduce this shit. Sir Fatso. Mr. Boombalatti, you need to calm it down. You need to stop with all of this overeating, overindulging. So that's why this even came across my radar. Is because we're not in the position to be spending any more taxpayer money on that. And it's not just shit like that. It's the wars. It's the entitlement programs. It's all of it. It's all of it. That's why it's like, so what? Which one do you want to cut? All of it. It's just like, so you want to take my donuts and my ice cream, my pizza? Which one do I have to stop eating? All of it. Broccoli, rice, and fucking chicken breast for you, my nigga. All of it. We got to get serious. Aquatic ecologists and pool construction experts have expressed skepticism regarding the vandalism narrative. Obviously, but I guess we need some experts to poke holes. Scientists noted that algae blooms are an entirely natural occurrence in shallow, stagnant bodies of water exposed to direct sunlight, adding that the darker blue paint likely accelerated the process by absorbing more heat. obviously. Furthermore, engineers suggested that the peeling was more likely caused by improper bonding, high humidity during application, or a chemical reaction from the heavy doses of hydrogen peroxide used to treat the algae. Look, it was a whoopsie. It was a little mistake. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's, again, you have the cheat meal. You had a little donut. It's okay. When you were this fucking fat, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's called a cheat meal for a reason, meaning like usually you do right and you're cheating right now. When you're constantly just indulging yourself with all this fucking junk food, America, American government, you're just getting bigger. It's not okay. So mistakes can happen, but right now, no. Even if this went right, this was a waste of taxpayer money, in my opinion. It's not like it's not like they're cutting somewhere else. And you know what? We have this surplus of money. Let's go ahead and just get this reflecting pool looking nice. Let's go ahead and get it in tip top shape or whatever. No, that's not what you have. It's like, hey, let's just add on to it. And I hate to keep using the fat person analogy here, but again, you're not saying, all right, I got donuts, I got fucking pizza, and I got ice cream. So I also want this candy right here. I'm not taking away the donuts so that I can have the candy. I'm just saying I just want the candy too. I'm just going to eat that too. That's what I'm saying is happening here. And that's why mistakes, oopsies, they matter more. The stakes are high. In a basketball game, you can miss a shot. But if it's the game-winning shot, you fucked up. You fucked up. Okay? So the stakes are higher now. Contractors are currently evaluating how to execute the drainage and structural repairs with less than 2 weeks remaining before the July 4th holiday. Because everything, it has to be a spectacle. That's why they're on this deadline. That's why people are speculating that, they messed this up in the first place. I think we need to chill. We need to stop trying to impress people. And by we know who I'm talking about. We can't impress people with shit like this. We can't keep trying to impress people with these surface level wins, especially when they don't end up being a win. You got all of this pressure. We got to get it done by this time. And now it hasn't even been properly laid down. So we got some anonymous pool surfacing expert that ended up calling in to TMZ that was just, saying, hey, this is my expert opinion.
What are you seeing about this construction that gives you pause?
Just from the way it's peeling up, it seems to me like the preparation wasn't correct. It's not a proven product, I don't think. Like, I doubt they've used it on anything underwater before.
You're talking about the paint, the paint that they put down.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. He was saying a lot of speculative talk. You know what I mean? I don't think the product they use, I don't think has ever been underwater. See, that's why it's like it's hard to figure out. Like, all right, what's actually going on and what is people just trying to pile on to the situation. And unfortunately, that's where we are in society, like at this point in society. We're at the point where every media outlet, every person, whether it's a politician, whatever, everybody wants to just pile on to whatever their side is. They want to pile on to the other side. And some of it is pure hatred, like I was talking about. But some of it is just virtue signaling. Like, hey, I'm on the team. Don't worry. Don't try to come after me. I'm one of the good ones. I'm one of the ones that is just like you. I'm part of the team. So the so-called expert that wanted to remain anonymous for some reason, I don't know why you wouldn't just say your name. Especially if like you are an expert in pool lining or something like that. What do you run a business? I'm guessing you would run a business. Maybe you are an employee, but if you ran a business, wouldn't you want to say your name? Hey, by the way, this is me, the expert in all things pool lining and water lining or whatever the fuck. My name is Billy Bob, and I work at Billy Bob's Pool Lining. And yeah, I'm going to get a little bit of marketing and promotion because I'm on TMZ, and I get to show my expertise. So talking about what gives you pause, that gives me pause. That makes me a little weary, the fact that you decided to remain anonymous. Mr. Expert. That's weird. This wasn't that deep. What do you think was going to happen? And Trump is petty. But I don't think he's that petty. He ain't going to come after you. Right? Like, he ain't going to come after you just because, oh, you're the pool expert. It's like, I feel like he has bigger fish to fry. I don't know. So maybe you could have shown who you were, and you'd be a little bit more credible in my eyes, in my opinion. And then you start saying, the material used, in my opinion, I doubt it was even used underwater. It's like, where are you basing that off of, sir? And I cut him off. I don't even want to hear his fucking voice anymore. But later he does go on to say, like, hey, like, because of that, the way that it was able to just come up and like come apart and shit like that, you could just tell that it wasn't properly put on. It wasn't whatever, like what I said earlier, where it wasn't because it was a little bit wet, it didn't end up sticking to the concrete correctly. Whatever. Who cares? It was a mistake. That's the one thing that's clear. That there was no 300, 350, whatever the fuck. There was no slit from one end to the other where somebody tried to sabotage the reflecting pool. This was a mistake. And again, mistakes, they're not unheard of. I'm not saying we shouldn't give grace. We can't afford mistakes right now. Like I said, the stakes are high. This is the game-winning shot. We're down to the last quarter. I'm sorry, it's not the game-winning shot left. Or yet. We still got some time left. But we're down to the last quarter. We're down to the last couple minutes. You know, we are dying as a country. Our economy, our dollar, it's losing power. And I hate to keep harping on this. I hate to say that everything comes back to money, whether it was Miss Nancy Guthrie dying in her kidnapping. It's not kidnapping. I guess it's just being taken if you're not a kid, if you're an 84-year-old woman. Her death, her tragic death, that was unintentional but still happened. It all comes back to money. All of these different cases, they all come back to money. People feeling like they can't get ahead. We can't afford this right now. We can't afford any more reflecting pools. It was already 14, almost 15 million. You're telling me you got to drain this shit? You got to repaint it? So what are we talking about, doubling it? You're going to have to at least double it, right? Plus the money to actually to take all of it away. Like, you had to drain it again, and you had to, it's not just draining it. Before it was like just concrete. So you just had to drain it and then put it down. The application, whatever the fuck it was. Obviously, I'm not an expert in pool lining. But now you gotta drain it again, remove all of these said objects, remove the algae and shit like that. So now at least 28 million to do it again, plus let's just say another 2 million. And that's unfortunately light. I don't know where they're getting this money from. Like, I swear to God. And I feel like somebody should just test it. They should just test it. Somebody that they have the means, basically recreate what the reflecting pool is. I'm not sure the exact dimensions, but copy that shit. Put it in. You got open land, perfect. Get the same thing. You don't have to worry about any of the monuments or anything like that. We're gonna just focus on the reflecting pool. Do the exact same job. I want to know what you'd be quoted at. How much would you pay? I guarantee you it's not gonna be even, what did he say at first? A couple million? Why? Why is it that much? It's that much to drain it? To put in a new filtration system, millions of dollars? Like, I'm trying to actually comprehend, like $1 million, 1,000 thousands. So it's like, I get thousands and thousands of dollars on this. But 1,000 thousands a couple times? And then it ended up not even being that. It ended up not even being, that's what it's like, fuck what it was, the 14 million. You projected 2 to 3 million? What are you talking about? I want somebody to just do a little test for me. Do a test. If you have the means. I don't have the means. I can't do this. Because if it is a couple million, I can't, I'm going to have to do like the dine and dash thing. I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to have to say, I'm sorry. I don't have the money. I can't do it. I know I got your hopes up. You thought you were going to get this deal. I'm sorry. I don't have the means. But if you do have the means, if you have the land, please recreate the reflecting pool. I don't believe it for a second. I'm starting to think that we're being gouged here. This isn't an original thought, nowhere near original. Can't say that this is the first time somebody's thought about this. I think we are being gouged. I think that it's the same thing like if you got a salesperson, they go into a poor neighborhood and they go into a rich neighborhood. They got the same product that they sell in both neighborhoods. Based on how much they think the person has, they might change how much they charge. Oh, this is only $1,000 in the poor neighborhood. You go to the rich neighborhood, and it is $51.99. Is that going to be credit, debit, cash, card? Like what are we doing? We good? You got it? And they won't feel bad. Oh, look at this house. Look at them. And I know this because I used to do door-to-door sales way back when. So I know personally, firsthand. I've seen people that's like, oh yeah, look at this car. Look at their car. Yeah, we're going to charge them. And okay, if you want to charge that, always. But then, like I said, same product, go to a poorer neighborhood and immediately just slash the price, where it's only like 30% of what you just quoted the person in the richer neighborhood. It's like, oh, you didn't even let them say no to the larger price. Because I'm automatically assuming this shady salesperson, I'm automatically assuming that they don't have it. So I am pricing them based on their wallet. Oh, the government? The one that spends trillions every single year? What you want, a reflecting pool? I could probably do it for like 2-3 million. Million. Did I say million? 2 to 3 million. And then the government's just like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Like I say, you got that same salesperson, they say 5,000 or whatever for the product in the rich neighborhood. And when the rich person was just like, oh yeah, and they bring out their check, and they just start writing. It's like, holy shit, I could have said 7. 2 to 3 million. Actually, we did the math after everything, and it ended up being like 14. I think we're being gouged. I think we're being fucked over. So somebody please step up. Somebody has to be the person that takes the hit for us, for America. Recreate the reflecting pool. Don't use that in your costs. Act like it's already been created. Like literally recreate this shit. And then do the exact same job that Trump just wanted done. I just want to know how much it is. If it's the same, I'll shut the fuck up. I'll never talk about it again. But I got a feeling